Hello everybody, welcome to our workshop for our Two Red Robins collection, The Secret Garden. And it is just a fabulous collection. It's beautiful. And I know once you've all got it home and you start working with it, you're going to find lots of new ways to be able to build and create your projects. Now, I'm going to quickly go through the boards as a little bit of inspiration of where we can go with all of these dies and the ability to be able to manipulate all of them. So first of all, we've got our beautiful climbing rose. This is just gorgeous. Okay, so obviously we've got the white cut where you can see the detail, and we do get a matte layer with this one, so that all on its own makes it stand out and pop. So we can use this and cut it as a shaped card, so we can have just a little tiny gift card, even if they're notelets or a gift tag on something. They look adorable. But just look where you can actually take this. So cutting into it, cutting several of them and manipulating them. So we've now got this beautiful sweeping tall climbing rose. So that's the first one. So that's just a little bit of inspiration for that. And I may actually go that way with one of the actual projects we're going to make. Then we've got our the peacock feather. This is beautiful. Now this is a swift die, so you're going to pass it through and get both of them cut in one go. But just look at the detail. And I love that even though these are feathers, you would think that that is foliage, and that is exactly how I'm going to use the feather in some of my projects. I'm not going to look at it as being a feather. I'm actually going to use it as being foliage to add in that background and make those florals pop. Then we have our rose hips. Now these again are beautiful, and there's quite a few on here. Okay, this is all separate, so it's when you cut it all out, these are all the pieces that you get. But look what you can build. Again, think of it as almost that these could be berries if you wanted to. You don't have to think of them as rose hips, but the actual to tuck this in, add that pop of colour for some of your other collections as well. So think of our past collections that we've had, and also our future ones coming up. Now look at this. This is must be one of my favourites, and I love my florals, as you know. So here we have what they look like when they're singular. So we've got this beautiful big bloom with a bud. We've got a singular bud. Now that can be actually decoupaged onto there straight away. And we have the bud from the side aspect. But looking at what we can do to build this up, I'm just going to tip that up to see if you can see how much decoupage we've got on there, how you can layer these up. So you can do that in two ways, using your foam pads or then using your 3D glue gel, which is my favourite medium. And again, what I've done is I snipped into these. I've added in this and tucked it in behind. So by tucking it in on the side, it's opened it up and made it more as if it's an actual rose tree. And then the pieces where I've snipped away maybe, I've tucked back in and created a larger tree, almost as if it's coming back into bud and it's growing. So again, just from something like this, you can actually get quite a big project. Then, of course, we need our actual tall, almost like a table, isn't it, that we've got here that you can actually use, but then this works together. So we have our easel with our urn on top, and again we've given you the different sizes, which is what we're renowned for with Two Red Robins. So this one would work on the biggest one, but then this one would work on either of the smaller ones, and then we have a really little one that again coming down in size. But they don't have to be columns. That's the word I was looking for. These columns don't have to be just for this. They can be standalone, okay? So they can have them fallen over on their side, snip into them as if they've been broken and they've been smashed, cutting into them so you can actually use them to be able to tuck into as well. Again, lots of different ways, but I'm going to show you that in our workshop. Then we have, these are just stunning. Absolutely beautiful. So we've got this glorious arch, which is incredible. Two different sizes. This in itself, because it has the matte layer, is a standalone card. So cut this out over the edge and it's a standing card, or even making a beautiful easel card. It is spectacular. Again, one of my favourites. Then we have our gate and rails. This is just incredible. So One of the things I am going to show you is I'm going to build a scene, but these pieces work with a gate, but they also work at the side of these. Okay, so these would go on the outside edge of our lovely archway, and the gate fits in the middle here. So then that's extending it out, and then to snip into the rails and have them each side. So again, all, you know, worked out that they all work together. Okay, then we have, this is again beautiful, I love this. So we have our circular stoneway, but again, using it a little bit different, I'm using this as steps. So in one of the projects I'm going to make, I'm going to layer these up, and because they get smaller, it creates steps for myself. So it's going to be a super easy project. Then, of course, our peacocks. Aren't they delightful? And again, with this one, I'm going to tip that up because I don't know if you can actually see how much decoupage we've got in there. So we've got 3 layers, and there's quite a chunky amount of glue gel on that one. Again, aren't they just, they're so graceful, aren't they? Opulent and graceful. They're just beautiful peacocks. Then we've got, he is phenomenal. Look how tall he is. Now he will sit beautifully on top of the urn. So again, that's one way that we could actually go with this. So we sit the urn on top of here, and he is going to sit on the side coming down. So again, creating beautiful, beautiful projects. And then we have our, what we all renown and know our peacocks for is that fabulous fanned tail like he is. And he's so proud, isn't he? He's just beautiful. So they are all the dies that we're going to be using. And this is the, I'm just going to show you this board in the end of where we can go. So we can create an incredible scene with these. So we have got scenes with this, okay? And this is what I was talking about, creating that archway. So we've got an archway, we've got those 2 stone edges each side, and the gate is in the middle. I've layered up the gate several times, so this is really quite stiff. It will, you can have it open, and you could really, you know, they could open and close that if you wanted to by snipping down the middle. Again, I've positioned the urn at the front, so I've gone with the bigger one at the front and the smaller one further back, creating that depth and dimension. And we have all of our florals, and of course we have to have our peacocks in here. Continuing on from there, we've got our railings, and then we've used the florals across the side, but keeping it balanced. So that could be, here you could have 1 card, okay? So we've got our florals, our railings, and our beautiful peacock. Here is another one. So we've got our peacock on that beautiful wall, or even on the urn. And again, if you put some more florals on here, or sat the other peacock in front. So that's the second way. We've got a third one, which is a full one, like so. So again, creating, having it, it is all very, you can have it very fluid, very, you don't have to stick everything flat down to the card. You can leave things that move, okay? And then adding in that decoupage. And by adding in that space and that decoupage and building everything up, it allows you then to tuck in, and that helps you build your perspective in all of your projects. Not sticking it all down flat, shaping everything and adding in the decoupage layers really does help you build your projects. So here we have some of the scenes. Let me just pick the scenes out so I can get rid of that paper. Aren't they beautiful? These are going to make it so easy to create those projects, you know, the pictures that you want to make. So we've got this beautiful cottage. Now imagine, so I'm going to bring in some of our pieces now. So we've got a walkway. I'm going to place in that beautiful archway. And I have some other pieces. I've got everything cut ready. I'm going to add in the wall, so it can be forward. You see, we've got these pieces at the side, so let's tuck and wind them in. Let's bring that in, because it would do that, wouldn't it? That grass would grow at the front, that wall would be in front as well. And then let's do the same at this side. Let's tuck it in, weave it in and out, and then add that, or we could have that behind and have some at the front, okay? So now we've created this walkway. But in addition to that, we have this fabulous gate. But if we glue that down and had several layers, we can actually have that gate so it's open. Okay, we don't have to glue it down solid, so it could be layer it up several times so it makes it quite a bit more substantial, almost like a chipboard element, and then that would be able to stand proud like that. And then you can go in with our lovely peacock, tuck it in behind the gate as if she's just coming out of the garden. So there's so much inspiration. There is so much in this collection, which is just beautiful. Now we have these raw railings. So now by sliding that on there, look how that makes a difference on there. It just finishes that picture off. So by having two, I'd have another one at the other side, but we actually have a smaller one with the smaller gate because there's two sizes of the gate. So it doesn't matter if you mix and match these. So you can have a smaller one at the other side or stack them on top of one another. So that really does create an ornate railing, doesn't it? So you can smaller ones, stack them on top of one another, or just have the smaller lower gate if that's where you were going. It's so beautiful. Then, of course, we bring in the florals and our urns. So that one's a little bit big for this, and I love Two Red Robins for doing this for us because they do all the work for us. They take all the guesswork out of everything. Now that is a little bit better for this particular perspective, isn't it? How fabulous. It just fits and it works beautifully. So we don't have to have one. You can have a double pedestal, column, whichever you want to call it, like so. And then we can have our fabulous urn sat on top. So can you see? And that also helps having this background. So it's allowing us to see already those projects that we're wanting to build. So once you've built this up, I would build it up or see where I want to go with it. Take a picture of it on your camera so you know where you're going. Okay, so you know when you take it all off that you know where to place it all back on. And then when you're building it back, just have that photograph in front of you so you can see where you're going and build this up. Okay, but then we've also got our smaller one. So we've got another one. Now that archway, you might think, yeah, I quite like that archway. Let's add more. So we can extend this archway like so. Because we've extended it, we don't want that showing. So that's where that pillar comes in to hide it a little bit. Okay. And again with this one, tuck that in and I've now extended that archway. And then again, let's take that away and there, by tucking that in down here, we've now got a much more substantial archway. So don't worry about, I mean, I even just tore into those to build that. Don't worry about snipping into them. That's what it's there for. We're giving you all these sizes to be able to, for you to be able to run away with the creativity and make the projects your own. And then we have our florals. Now, when you look on the website, we have different colourways. So we've got a white one and a pink one, but I know that there are others. Okay, and it's the same with this fabulous rose. So I'm working with two of the colourways here. I've got this beautiful subtle pink and then this blush on this one. It is stunning. Okay, so we've got all of that to work with. So let's get sticking some of this down and do a few projects for you. So firstly, I want to do a standalone one, which is what the Two Red Robins is renowned for. So we have our plinth and I want the big of the two urns. So let me bring these in like so. So that's what we're starting off with. We want two of these and maybe two of these, like so. So this is going to be my base, okay? So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of glue and stick it at the top. Like so. In fact, I'm going to glasses on. Where we've got these two pieces, we're here. that is where I'm going to fold that, like that. Okay, so I've got this nice straight edge. And then I'm going to pop my glue on here, like so. And then lay that on top, match it up. And then while that is setting, I'm going to come back to these, okay? So what I want to be able to do is tuck in. I want to be able to use the actual urn. So I'm going to take my scissors, and when I'm actually doing my decoupage and I'm cutting into something like this, I always hold my scissors on a 45-degree angle, because that then, if you think about when you're using a die, the die gives you that lovely lip. If you cut straight on, you've got more risk of actually seeing that white edge. If you cut it at an angle, it helps hide that white edge. So I'm going to come in from this side and just cut along like so, and I'm going to leave it there like that because I want to be able to tuck this in. Okay, so add a little bit of shape like so, and I want a little bit of shape at the bottom. This here I'm going to glue solid. I'm only going to glue, maybe I'm going to refer to them as the ears or the handles. Okay, so that then is allowing me to have the shape. I'm going to glue this flat, so I'm apply glue here on the little handles or ears and on this piece here. Okay, so let's glue this flat first, but it's not flat. I have actually just squeezed it in a little bit. Okay, and because I've used wet glue, that's going to allow me that little bit so I can dome it. Then there, I'm going to hold that in place just so it takes. So I've not actually stuck that down yet. Can you see? Like so. And then I'm going to spin that round so it allows me to be able to see where this is and glue that down like so. So now when I actually look at it, that edge isn't yet glued down, and that's going to allow me to use, so I can have flowers spilling out of this. And then I've got all the space in the middle, so we can actually just go like that. So we've got lots of space in the middle to fill up and tuck in, and then we've got the little piece at the bottom. I'm going to add a little bit of 3D glue gel in there. Lift that up. And I'm using our Craft Master little glue sticks because they are just fabulous when you're using something like this. So pop that to one side. This is now going to stand on here, but I'm bringing it right to the front, okay? And then I'm going to add glue on all of this. Like so. So now we've got this beautiful card going on. We've got the column at the base, which is creating our card blank. And then we've got this fabulous urn. Now, if need be, what we can do, if it's struggling to stand up because of the weight that's in there, we can add another column at the back, and we can add a little brace in here. So it's like an M or a W. That will stop it actually opening up and splaying open, and it will actually add a little bit more stability to this. And it doesn't matter that it's not the same size. It just adds a little bit more stability. I'm going to pop that on there like so and let that set. And then we can add one in the middle. So now from here we can start building. So what I want to do is use some of my florals. Now these are the ones that are more of the actual growing and trailing one, but I want some of these bigger ones in the base. So I'm going to pick a couple of these larger ones, and then I want the other colour. Okay, so now we're blending our colours. And you would find that in a garden though, wouldn't you? When you went to a garden, you'd see lots of different colours, same variety. So in a rose garden, you'd see yellow, white, red, all those colours, but they're all together in one border. You would see them growing together. So now, adding a little bit of shape with everything, I can have a look at where I want to go. So I want one of those, but it's these bigger ones that I want. So when I do my decoupage, and this is no hard and fast rule, this is just how I personally like to work. If I'm doing decoupage, I like to work in threes. I'll have a whole one on the base, and then I'll have a look at what I want to snip away of what is actually furthest to me. So for me, on this one, this rose at the back is behind, it's at the back. So I'm going to snip that away, and I am going to snip off just there, but that I'm going to keep. Okay, now it's up to you whether you shape it down or out. I'm going to add a little bit of shape on these edges. I get my glue stick. These are just amazing, these glue sticks. They're one of my favourite things. They're in my craft bags, several of my craft bags. I have them on my desk at home in my craft room. We all use them on our desk here at Highlight as well. So that is, I think it's a must-have. It's such a fabulous little tool to have on your desk. And you don't need to throw them away. They're not just one use only. So that is my first layer. Now here you can see that I've got that little bit of a stem. So all I'm going to do is capture a little bit of glue on there. So I'm now mixing my mediums, different types of glue. I've got my wet glue going on. And I've got my glue gel, my 3D glue gel also working with me. So then my third one, I'm now going to take most of this away. Of course, again, I've snipped that away. So whatever you snip off of your first one, you snip again on your last top layer. Okay, so all of that, I've snipped all of the same pieces away. But now I'm going to take it that one bit further. I don't want that bud, but I'm going to keep it. And I do want that, but I don't want all of these pieces, all the bits, I want to keep that piece as well. Let me just get that out the way, otherwise it will end up on the floor. Now this one, instead of shaping it down, I've brought it forward. But can you see how easy, just by manipulating it in my hand and bringing it forward, if I flip that over, all of these detailed eyes, all these detailed lines allow me to do that without creasing all of my cardstock. So again, glue gel on like so. This is now going to go on here. I'm going to line it up and I'm just going to give it a little bit of a wiggle. Okay, but look at the difference that that makes to how much height we've got on there, okay? And that is going to lay at the base of this. Now I'm going to go in again with this one. I'm going to take away that bud because I don't need it. And this one is going to tuck in behind like so, okay? So that one's going to be quite flat, okay? And then this one, I'm going to have this way, okay? So I'm now looking at actually matching it up. Have this one in it as well. Add that little bit of shape. So these are the first ones that are going on here. So this is where I need to glue here on these leaves, like so. That is in place. But I'm not losing any of that shape because I'm not gluing everything down. Again, on this one, overlapping it. And I know I put some glue on there, but it doesn't matter. I can always add something behind there. And then this one, I'm going to add a little bit of glue gel on here. But I am going to add wet glue to this. Okay, so now we've overlapped like so. So that is now the base, okay? So while I work on other things, that can now be drying because there's quite a few layers that we've got going on here. Like so. And then this one can go on here. I've got a couple of landlocked pieces there that I'm going to poke out, and that can slide in like so. Okay, so we've got quite a substantial card going on here, but it'll look beautiful when we're finished with it. So now moving on to the other florals. So these are the pieces that are going to build up. They're growing up the front of the pot. So again, mixing up my mediums. Where I want it to stay 3D, I'm adding in a little bit of glue gel because I don't want it to get squished or flattened in any way. And then on some of the other pieces, I'm capturing it with the normal glue. Bring that back in. And now we've got this stem, but that stem is going to hide behind there and come forward over here. Okay, but look how beautiful. That is just stunning. So you could leave it there and not do any more to this particular one because it just lends how beautiful it is. It really is. Then we have those other pieces that we cut away. I'm going to tidy them up because I just want those leaves. Okay, so I'm now looking at where I'm filling in some of those empty spaces. I always keep the bits or the bigger pieces, the substantial pieces that I cut away to see what I can use. Right, and we've got another one there. Then we do have some of the others. So now I want to go with a white one. Okay. Like so. And because of how we can actually push and pull all of this, I'm now looking at that. I want to tuck that in there. I don't need this stem on this one. But I do need to capture some glue on some of these edges. Okay. And I've got wet glue on some of this, but that's okay. This one is going to lay to that side. Which, and this again is one of the fabulous reasons why we use this 3D glue gel, because it gives us time to create and manipulate. Now, instead of struggling, I'm going to turn that round. Lift up that rose, pop my glue gel behind, and secure that in place like so. Okay, so that's that one. And then we have some of our buds and some of our other pieces. So now I'm just going to add these back in because we're a little bit empty down here. Okay, so I want a couple of these buds. So now I'm looking at where I can bring this down here and this one to the top. Okay, so I'm trying to make sure that I'm actually keeping it balanced. So we have another one of these. I think I've got some white ones as well. Look what I've got here. We have a smorgasbord of lovely things to use. There's a white one. And we have our peacocks ready and raring to go. So now, but as I'm building this, I know I'm building this with the intention of it being a standalone card. So I've got pink at the bottom. I'm just going to tuck that one in because that is white. And then I'm going for pink again at the top. But this could actually be, I'm making a topper as well. So I'm not just making my card as it is. This can be different ways. So if you like the idea of this particular card, but you don't want it to be a freestanding card, this is now a DL. Okay, so now we can swap this up. That's going on there. Then I want these. I've got a couple of buds. A little bit of glue. Slide in the bud like so. I have a couple of others that have got no stems, but that's not worrying me, because on this one, I'm going to tuck that in at the side, and now I've got a double bud on that one. And then on this one, I'm going to tuck that in behind there. And I like the fact that it's overlapping the other floral. And then I just need to bring this back in because I need some of these. So I'm going to go pink and white again. I'm mixing them up to keep it balanced. I want my peacock feathers, but like I said, I'm not thinking of the peacock feathers as feathers for this. This is now going to be my greenery. This is my foliage. So I'm going to turn that over and check if I've got any landlocked pieces, because we don't want those in there. And again, I'm not using any special tools, just my hands and my fingers. A little bit of glue on there. And bring it forwards and backwards. But look at the difference that that now makes. And we've got two different variations. So let me just get another one. Same one. Of course it will be the same one because you picked it up. There we go. So we've given you the option of the feathers working in two different directions. So we've got it sweeping to the left and then to the right. So now, again, this is going to be my foliage. I'm not thinking of it that it's a peacock feather. I'm thinking of it that it's my greenery. Like so. Okay. And then I'm going to have another one in the base. And because of all these cuts and everything on here, it makes it so easy. It really is so easy to be able to tuck these in. Let me just lift all of that up. That's better. I want that in front, that behind. Okay. I'm happy with that. And like I say, I want something else down here, so I'm actually going to do a bit of chopping. Let's snip into this. And because we've got the decoupage, I don't want to leave it not decoupaged. I am going to add in an extra one. So that first one, I've left the bud on. And this one, I'm going to take these away. That is not going to go to waste. I will be using that. So now, glue gel. Pop that on there, spread it out a little bit. And now just find where to lay that on top. And then we're going to tuck that in there. I just want to hold that down a second while it takes. Okay. So before I put anything else on, I'm going to have a look at my composition. Okay, so I'm looking that I'm quite happy it's balanced. I've got quite a bit going on at the bottom, and we've got this lovely, it sweeps round and follows it round. But I want to see how am I going for it to be able to stand up. Lovely. Okay, I'm just going to turn that round so you can actually see where we're going with it. Okay. If it feels like it's a little bit heavy, we can actually add in other things on the other edge, but that's just stunningly beautiful. Now I'm going to add a little M in the middle because I don't want that to collapse on me or spray open. Okay, so I'm going to use one of my little, I'll do, like so. So what I mean by an M, I've folded it in half. In fact, we'll do it the other way. Fold it that way. fold it back on itself, so where we've got those two lines, and then back again. So have a little M. But by doing it in the grey cardstock, the actual die cut of itself, when we pop it inside, it will hide what it is. It's not as visible. So if you were just to use a white piece of card in the middle, and then the card was stood on a mantelpiece, it may be a bit more visible. But by using an actual piece that is the colourway, and that's also why I've used two of the little pillars. Keep forgetting what they're called. So, oops. Capture that, capture that. So I'm just going to hold that there with my pokey tool so that actually takes. And then we're going to work on a little bit at the top, but I'm not adding too much more to this. I do want to add one of the little peacocks on here, and I just want to add a little bit of greenery or a little few flowers that are flowing out to one side, and then that would be this one done. So I'm going to choose this little peacock here. No, he's not big enough. Where is he? He'll do. He's better. And again, aren't these just beautiful? Aren't they just, they're so regal and elegant. Now, where do I want him? I'm actually going to sit him at the bottom here. Okay. And this time I'm going to pop in some more glue gel. And he is going to nest in behind there, and just like so. Okay, so that's where he's going to sit. And then finally, to finish this off, because we've got that little area that we're going to tuck in at the top that we chopped into, I'm actually going to tidy up some of the pieces that I snipped into. Okay, so I'm just going to take off a couple of the bits that are sticking out, the ones that we don't really need. And I'm going to have it hanging over again. Whoops, don't need that. So that piece is going to tuck in, and this is my greenery. So to tuck this in, I want it stuck to the back. Lift that up and turn that around and add that in place. But I don't want my feather hidden. Okay. Like so. And then this one, a little bit of a tidy up again, a little bit of a haircut. Oops. And then I'm capturing at the base. And this is going to tuck in. Lift that up. Tuck that in. And then I have a little bit of white showing there. But I'm not worried about that because we have some beautiful extra florals that again I'm just going to snip into like so. Tuck that in, then use my pokey tool to put all this down like so. Okay, I want that to be over the edge, E. Just need that to stay there. I'm going to move that out the way so I don't squash it. Work from this side. That's better. I just needed to tuck that in. And just let that take, get rid of that bit of that glue. So now, when I turn this around, we have used our pillar, our beautiful urn. We've cut into the top so we can fill it and also have it spilling out. We've used the feathers as foliage. We've balanced it out to make sure that we've got something at the bottom. We have a movement throughout the card, and we have, again, florals at the top. And also by putting that little M, if I turn it that way, can you see? Got a little M in there. Let me turn like that. Can you see that little M underneath? Let me get some white cardstock. See that little M in there? That is going to help no end to stabilise, so it doesn't then, when the recipient receives it, that those little legs don't splay out. And that is our first project. So that's our first one. And now we're going to do a little scene. So where I started right at the very beginning when I went through building that scene, we'll do a little scene. So we're making a little topper for a card, okay? So that is our standalone, which is wonderful. We'll pop that to one side. So now let's bring in our scene elements. Before I do anything else, I'm having a little wipe up, because when you're working on a shaped card, as you all probably all know, that there are elements that will stick to your desk, or you end up with bits of glue on your desk. So let's get rid of that. So now we have a choice, because we have some beautiful, beautiful scenes to work from. So let's work through these. That is stunning. Isn't it absolutely gorgeous? It really is. So we've got that idyllic cottage that we can build that beautiful archway in front and have that lovely railings. That's one choice. Look at this. The colourways of this to match the colour palette of, firstly, the actual peacocks. I bring that peacock in there. He looks like, I don't have to do it. Look, he's already at home. He's moved in. Aren't they just fabulous? Just fabulous collection. So we could go that way. So we've got a pagoda in a garden. So we could have a secret archway looking through. Then we have the one that I've used that is the board. So I've built that up knowing that there's these steps that I can see. So that's partly where I started with this. When I did it, I knew that I'd got this in the background. So through the gate, you can actually see that we've got the waterfall in the background, okay? Then we've got all these other things going on. So I knew that this was water. So I've just ignored the fact that it's water because I knew how I was going to build this. So I've put the stone in, I've built my arch, but I've done it almost like fussy cutting. I've worked out where my arch needed to be because what I wanted to see in the background. So I've chosen that I wanted to see the waterfall through the gate. Then we come along with the railings and we can see the walkway walking up. So now, because I've hidden this behind everything else, this is no longer water. It can be anything. It could just be grass. But I've hidden the boulders and things so you wouldn't know that they were even there. Then we've got just fabulous florals. Again, really, really, really pretty. Aren't they just beautiful? So imagine just bringing in your florals. It doesn't have to be like we've built with the Secret Garden and you've got the scenes. They're just beautiful florals. You add in all your florals on here now and a lovely sentiment and it's going to be good to go. Now, this is really Secret Garden, isn't it? So we've given the option of already giving you the gate. So this is then zooming in. We've got this beautiful big gate. Now we can bring in our peacocks. So if we're to bring in, where are the big ones? Here he is. Look at him. Let's have a post and an urn. And then he sits up here. It's just wonderful. And then you can choose. So we can have him at that side. Slide him over here and then crop that off. You don't have to use all of that and then build up from there, okay? So moving on, we've just got, again, let me build this up. I want to give you as much inspiration as I possibly can because this is just the most, it's just fabulous collection. So I'm going to tuck my gate in, having my gate open. So where's my pillows? Pillars, not pillows. I'm not going to put my head on them. So, like so. We've given you the little one. So if you wanted to scale this down and have a little one, that would be wonderful. Can you imagine doing these little ones? And I know, oh, what they're called now. You know the fairy doors on your baseboards or your skirting boards around your rooms? You could do a little secret garden entrance and do a little one that goes at the bottom that you put on your skirting board at the base. So you could build this up with your archway, because we've got a small archway, which is here. So we've given you the little and the big. So you could build this up. You've even got the little pillars that go at the side, and you could have a tiny one at the base. I think that's a lovely, really cute idea. So pop that on there, and then we've got the rest of the garden going on. So like I can say, pop the railing, but we've given you the railing. So if you want to scale this down, rather than cut two of these, just cut it in half and put one at one side and one at the other. Like this. But look at that now, that we've got this fabulous like sun in the background. So then what I would do is I would chop that across there like so and use the top half of this. But that looks fabulous. It almost looks like it's printed on there at the minute. So let's go again. Now this just warrants putting this on here, doesn't it? So we have got to put this archway on this one. Look at that. That archway is definitely going on those steps. Again, pulling this in. Or maybe not that. Maybe let's go with the other pieces that we've chopped off. Like so, and build these back in. Like that. So we extend that archway and then put the fence in. We don't have to use those pillars. So we've done a different way of extending that archway, okay? But that on those steps, you've got to put that gate on those steps. It just cries out for doing that with it, doesn't it? Then another one where we've got the path. Again, it looks fabulous. So we could have it as an entrance again if you wanted to. But this one is more, to me, is more the florals. So if we have our florals winding up the side like so. Beautiful sentiment over this way. And took some of the bigger ones in. And then remember, use those feathers as your foliage. Let's tuck those in and use those. So again, cropping that down. Look at that colourway. That is just beautiful. So think about matting and layering that and just putting a lovely with thanks or a little stamped message here. Wonderful. And the piece that you've cropped off here, don't throw that away. Use that as your mat and layer for your sentiment. So you would stamp your sentiment on white card. This would then be your next mat layer, and then on white card again. So you're not wasting this, but you know your mat layer for your sentiment is going to match this colourway because you've used this backing paper that goes with it. So take all that away. So choices, choices. Where do we go to create this scene? I think I've used that one. I do believe we're going to have to go back to the cottage because this is a secret garden in a beautiful cottage. Okay. But then this, remember, I'm working on this. And I'm going to work on this that it is a topper. So once I've done this, I'm going to cut this down and mat and layer it onto an actual card. You can do it the other way on, but I'm going to work on the whole of it because it's going to give me the option of which part, where do I want to stop, okay? Or it could just be a picture. So once you've done this and built this up, you then might want to pop it in one of those shadow boxes. So, first of all, what I want in place is this fabulous archway. So, and now I do want to use my glue gel because on this one, there's going to be lots of space for me to do lots of tucking in. Okay, so let's pop all this on here, around here. And I'm not doing it where I'm just squeezing it all the way around. I'm leaving myself some space that I'm going to be able to tuck in. Yes, there's going to be times where I catch this glue, and that's fine because it's just going to hold the other pieces in place for me. So it's like a helping hand, really. Now, let's have a look what I want to happen. Position that there because I want to be able to see that front door through the gate. Like so, okay? And then I'm going to take both of these gates. I would usually put the glue on my hand, but I know that's not really, you know, if some of you don't like that, I'm aware it's not. Layer these two up together. Or you could have a double gate. So on this, glasses on, you could snip all the way up there and have it slightly open. You could do it that you've got a double gate, so you don't have to use the archway. It would just be two of these side by side and have one stood open. So that makes a really ornate gate, doesn't it, when you've got a double gate like this. Somebody really special, or it's a super secret garden when we've got two of them going on. Like that. Da, da. It's always good. One of my things that I always look for is when I'm looking at the landlocked places, sometimes your eye is drawn to all the colour that's happening. So it's actually easier to flip your die over and find all the pieces from the back because you're not drawn to the colourway. You won't miss one. And also, if you lay it against a black background, you can see that you've taken it all out. Now I've done that, I'm going to pop a little bit of glue. So I'm going for the wet glue on the gate. I did the 3D glue, but I'm not gluing all of it. This is now going to go underneath, like so. So I need a pokey tool to just press that down. And that way I'm not going to crush everything. Now you can see I've got that gate open, which is exactly where I wanted to go with that. We have our fabulous stone pillars at the side. So I'm going to go back in with the glue gel. Again, I'm not putting it all in one go. I'm spacing it out. But as I did earlier, I want to do a bit of tucking and weaving. I don't want this all just to the back or the front. So we'll go like so. And then we want the other side again, a little bit of shape. Da, da, da. You have to excuse my sound effects, I'm very sorry. This one's to the front. So I'm going to tuck it behind the grasses, forward, and then on there, like so. And then if I remember rightly, we have some extra pieces that I've chopped. So I'm now extending what I have. And I may not, this is just like, almost like, how can I say? You know, if you put down, when you're using paint and you put your first layer on, it's base coat. I'm like putting a base coat down now with this smaller archway, because in the end, by the time I've built everything on here, you may not see very much of it, but you will. If it was taken away, you would miss it. Pop that in like so. Note to self, keep sleeves out of gel. Put that in there. And can you see, again, bring that forward. Okay, like this. And I've got an arch somewhere. There. Okay, that's now adding in how deep that actual frame is, how deep the arch is. So this may not be an arch, we now created a tunnel. So that is now a tunnel that you're going to walk through to go into this garden. I want these beautiful, beautiful roses. And as of yet, I've not put my railings in because I'm not 100% sure where those railings are actually going to fit for now. Because remember, we're working on making a card topper. So this is the topper of a card. So I might chop it off there and chop it off maybe at the chimney, and that is going to be just the piece of the card I use. So I might only need part of a railing. So I might chop into this and just put a little bit on the end. We're not really sure yet, so I'm still building at this time. So let's add in that's why I like these, because if you get a little bit heavy-handed in one place, you just pick it up and separate it out. So now that wants to tuck in and it's going to go up and over. Do you see what I meant by the foundation? If I took that out, it would be really noticeable that it's missing. Okay, having it there is adding where this is growing onto, as if you would have a hedge in a garden, exactly as a hedge in a garden. So now this beautiful rose is going to climb up and over. I am going to use one of the smaller pillars and an urn. Okay. So like I said earlier, that big board that I did, I'm using something very similar, but it's different. And that's what I love about the two Red Robins. This one, because I've used the 3D glue gel, it's going to give me that option of being able to tuck that in like so. Now, earlier on we had some pieces, greenery, yeah, I need those. We're now going to snip into some of these. So I want to take away there, there, and there. That's left me extra greenery that I'm going to tidy up straight away so I know where those cuts were, like so. This is now going to be my filler, and because I can manipulate it differently now, oops, pick that up, slide that in there. I want to just tuck it in like so, and that's going to hold that in place for me. Okay, then we've got this other greenery. Do you see how wonderful these little glue sticks are? They're incredible. And like I say, they're not just one use. What I will now do is, once I've scraped all that back in there, I'm going to wipe that off and clean it and just use that again. So you don't have to use them just one go. They're not just, one-time uses. I'm going to hook that into there. Might go the next one down, because we have all these places. So I'm changing that colourway slightly. But then I'm going to bring it back in up here. Okay, so balance that. I've used the colour in different places. And then we have just the normal basic greenery. that is going to go on the other side. And again, that lovely stem slides in like so. Remember, we have these fabulous peacock feathers. That is now going to go in there, maybe a little bit further down, like so. And then this is going to go on this side, and then I'm going to find or choose a couple of those beautiful peacocks. And as I showed you right at the very beginning, I'm going to have one sneaking out the gate. It's going on an adventure. But that greenery down there is wonderful, so I'm just going to lift it up and make sure I hide that one. Okay, I'm not actually going to need these, but I do need these buds. Little bud again. I'm going to tuck that in and attach it down there. So that was not actually on that particular part, but because I've got it, I've used it. I'll slide that in there. That takes that off on that side. Don't need that one. I do need another peacock feather though, because we've got extra ones. That's the one. So by the time we finish this, we will have done a beautiful scene or a frame or a topper, depending on how you want to then use it. Okay. And also a freestanding card. So I'm not far off done now. I just need to make a choice on my peacock that I'm going to use. And as you can see, I'm cutting into everything, I'm snipping into everything, and that 3D gel allows me so much easier. I know some of you like to use the foam tape, but the 3D glue gel really does make a difference for you to have the time, if you can see, to manipulate this to make it different. Nope. That's going behind. Like so. Right. Here we have our pillar and our urn, like so. So this is just decorative purposes on here. So this one hasn't actually got any foliage or flowers or anything growing out of this one. It's just something very posh outside the gate that you can see that. But then we have the grey colourway. We do have a brownish colourway as well. So we've got different colourways for this as well. You don't have to just use this grey, but you can then make them even more rustic by going in with your pencils and inks and things. So now this stands at the front, but to show that it is at the front, I've dropped it further down. Okay, this is further forward. Just by dropping it down that little tiny bit, it brings that forward. Okay, so we know that that is the first thing that we're looking at. Pop that on top. Isn't that just stunning? Now you know that this garden's going to be amazing when you go in here. So, do I then go with, yes I am, 1, 2, 3. So I have This one, again, I'm going in with the 3. Just taking the legs off of that one, so that's super easy. Again, snipping the legs off the second one. And again, using my scissors, and I've got it at that 45-degree angle. I'm not throwing that away, that can be used for something else. So I've now got these 3 beautiful layers. And again, I'm not using, by just using your glue gel as little pieces as well, like this, and not just doing a whole line down here, keeps the weight down as well on your cards. So that's another reason for actually doing it in just little pieces. So that's going to go on there. And then what we're going to do is use the wet glue. I'm going to capture the top of his head on all of them, so his head's close together, so we don't have that, almost like as if it looks like it, to me it's vibrating because there's 3 layers and you can always see those 3 layers. So to eliminate that, we're going to glue the 3 pieces together. So on this one, a little bit of glue gel on that, wet glue on there, and in between those 2. So pop that on there. Keep taking my glasses off when I need them. So I'm now going to pick all of this up. I'm going to layer that up, line it up, sorry. Take away the excess. And then what I would normally do on my desk, or either at work or at home, I have those tiny little wooden card pegs. And I would pop a little peg on there while that would set to hold it in place. So he is going to go here on top of the pillar, and I want another one that I'm going to find in here. 1, 2, 3. And again, I've got a base one. So it's super simple layering. We've got one with our feet. Let's take our feet away. The third one, we're going to take the feet away again because that's the first thing that's gone. And then snip in. I'm following those pit lines, so I'm not going rogue on any of this. So I've got my 3 layers, can you see? There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing again with the head. A little bit of glue, a little bit of glue. So the final thing is to actually place these beautiful peacocks on here. Oops. Like so. So while that one is setting, I use my glue gel on here. 1, 2, 3. That is then bring this in and sit him on that wall. And I know we've covered quite a bit of that up, but it doesn't matter. Because look at him, he's looking over there and he's looking out into the garden. This little cheeky chappy is now going to be coming out of the garden. He's going on an adventure. So I'm going to tuck him right into the gate. So he's on his way out of the gate, looking round as if to say what's going on out here. And he's having a look at what's happening inside. So there, let me just move all of my bits out of the way and just have a quick tidy up, and then I'll lay these out so you can actually see them properly. So we have our beautiful picture that we've created. But again, like I say, it's a picture, or it could be in a box frame, but this is now going to be chopped down. So I'll chop it down here, take this white border off in here, put a beautiful either black or green background, maybe picking out one of these, or maybe even using one of the backing papers, and then mount that onto a card. So we've made a topper that could be multiple users, but I've done it this way so we can see where we want to stop. If we wanted to use all of that picture, we can extend it, but we know where we're going to stop with that. So we've created that. And then now this is all set. This is really very rigid. And then we've created this one. So stand that up like so. Isn't that beautiful? So again, so we've got two variations. So we've got the topper, that could be the card. Look how much dimension and everything is on that. That is just beautiful. Or even you could have done it that you could have had that and then put that at the side of it. So there's several different ways. Look how putting that to the side like that, isn't that incredible? That creates another card. Is wonderful. So there we have our beautiful Secret Garden collection. So thank you very much for joining us, and I hope you have a wonderful time creating projects, and there's loads of inspiration for there to get you going, okay? And if you want the web exclusives that go with this, if you go to highlightcrafts.com and have a look on there, just type in the collection and the web exclusives will be there for you. And don't forget, with all of these, you do get your free colourway download as well. So the one that's on the packaging, that's a freebie. So that is just fabulous and it'll get you going straight away. So again, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you have fun using this collection. It is just beautiful, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye.
If you want to see more from Highlight Crafts, make sure you click the like button, subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below, and click the bell icon to receive notifications of all of our future content. You can also click here to see our latest video, or click here to see more videos like this one.